Quarterback Nico Iamaleava is now officially going to UCLA, finally. Now, along the way, he used a lot of people, including ESPN host Colin Cowherd. He'll never admit it, but that's the case. Drumming up some leverage, some of it real, some of it fake. We will connect all the dots, somewhat different path here from what you've heard somewhere else. Right here on Locked On Big Ten.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free, and of course, wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hit that free subscribe button while you're at it here so you don't miss a single episode. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. All right, Nico's leverage play with Colin Cowherd and other media types. Bryce Underwood's up and down weekend with Michigan's spring game, plus our top 10 observations for the weekend right here. So it's settled. Right? Former Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava is transferring to UCLA. Kind of glad that this is over with now, to be honest with you. But I say, hey, welcome to the Big Ten. In the end, this is a story about a quarterback that nobody wanted or trusted who transferred to a desperate team that nobody wants to play for. Maybe it'll be a match made in heaven. So how do we get here? By now, most of you know that Nico held the Tennessee Vols hostage, his former team, with a pro-style holdout during spring ball. He was only making a little more than $2 million a year while playing for the Vols, and he saw quarterbacks like Carson Beck getting over $4 million a year at Miami. He thought he was good enough to get that, so that's what he wanted to do. That's what he told Josh Heupel. He said, hey, man, pay me or else. Less than 24 hours later, Heupel said, or else. See ya. And he told Nico that his services are no longer needed. Strong move by Heupel here on behalf of all the coaches of college football. We just can't have this going on. I mean, there are times to ask for money, and there are times to play, and there are times not to do it. And I think holding your team hostage right before the spring game, or even, this wasn't his first incident. He was going to do this before the playoff game against Ohio State, but nothing became of it. So I think on behalf of the coaching community, Heupel put his foot down, and he got a lot of praise from the coaching community. This took a lot of guts. I mean, starting quarterbacks are hard to find, and the high-pressure stakes of college football, and coaches are paid a lot of money too. They got a lot of pressure to win games. Tennessee was a playoff team, and he just kicked his starting quarterback off the team at a time when he only has a redshirt freshman and a true freshman quarterback on his roster right now. So there was nothing in waiting. Speaking of the playoffs, again, Nico did this before, and this is where the trust issue comes in. Ahead of that playoff game at Ohio State, threatening to hold out behind the scenes. We didn't find that out till later. Nothing became of it as far as we know. But again, this time around, enough is enough. And so Nico went looking for the highest bidder. And there were rumors of interest at USC, UCLA, Bill Belichick in North Carolina for a minute, Tulane. Yeah, Tulane. And I don't know how you look at going from Tennessee to Tulane as a move up. I don't care how much money they pay. No offense to Tulane. But Nico and his family and his dad and I think his uncle were acting as his agents here. They were ready to sit back and watch the multi-millions of dollars just roll in. Say, hey, Tennessee, see ya. The market is going up. We're just going to sit back and we're going to collect money, right? Collect the offers, and then we're going to decide where to go. In fact, they seem so confident in that UCLA's low $1 million offer came in last week. Nico and his family scoffed at UCLA, turned them down, literally turned them down. By the way, this is the only podcast, the only place that you're hearing that, because I got it from a high source last Tuesday when I checked in at UCLA and said, hey, what's the latest with Nico? They said he turned us down. This is last Tuesday. That's important. Because then on Wednesday, ESPN host Colin Cowherd tweets out after a show that Nico to UCLA was a done deal. All right. Now, a lot of second-tier sources out there like Athlon and On3, they ran with it as gospel. Hey, Colin Cowherd says this is a done deal. Nico going to UCLA. Major sources you will notice like ESPN, Heather Dinich, Pete Thamel, the LA Times that cover UCLA, the Knoxville Times that cover Tennessee, Locked On Big Ten, refused to bite. We all said, look, Nico may eventually signed in this process with UCLA. We did not deny that. But we weren't jumping on the Colin Cowherd bandwagon last Wednesday because he said it was a done deal then. It was not a done deal back then. Eventually, he did sign there. We'll give him that. But a lot of us expected that to be the case. So what really happened between the time of UCLA's low ball offer of $1 million, it was the only offer out there, Nico turning down UCLA, and then Colin Cowherd saying, no, this is a done deal with UCLA. Nico and his family had zero leverage at that point in the college football world last week. USC, North Carolina, Tulane, they were all falling by the wayside within about a 36-hour period, making announcements. We're good at quarterback. We're not interested. So as of today, we still don't have the Nico numbers at UCLA, but I guarantee you this. They're nowhere near the $4 million he was seeking. They're nowhere near probably what we was getting at Tennessee. There was no leverage there, and the family trying to get it drummed up and get some interest going. And then all of a sudden, the story at UCLA, done deal. Done deal. That was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, until Sunday. I mean, if it was a done deal, why did it take 4 more days to get going? Because the family was playing up leverage. The transfer portal's still open. They were waiting to see if other schools' quarterbacks were dropping out before they go ahead. Okay, this is the only offer we got. Let's sign it on Sunday. That's what happened here. Another reason I'm confident that this leverage dried up is because Nico's family started dispersing nonsense propaganda through social media last week about the time of the Colin Cowherd story broke. They said that Nico's move from Tennessee was never about the money. This was never about the money. It was all about Nico's unhappiness with the Tennessee offense. Nonsensible garbage, I tell you. Nobody on earth believes that. They were trying to save face because they had just cost themselves millions of dollars, and there were no schools out there with the exception of UCLA, and UCLA was just holding firm on their low offer. I mean, if you were so concerned about playing in Tennessee's offense that got you in a playoff, mind you, why go to one of the worst offenses in the country at UCLA? The Bruins were the 14th ranked offense in the Big Ten last year. That's not where you're going to go. So don't tell me that. I don't buy that for a minute. That was a cover face because things weren't going your way last week. You didn't have the leverage. And other teams, they were shunning Nico because of the way that he left Tennessee hanging. Coaches can't trust a kid that's going to be asking for a raise every 6 months. Let's play some football at some point. So, and the way he left Tennessee hanging. Coaches turned their back on him. That's why they all dropped off. They didn't want to deal with that. Can you imagine Bill Belichick dealing with that at North Carolina every 6 months? No. He didn't even deal with Tom Brady. Tom Brady wasn't a problem. So anyway, this is how this all played out here this week. Now, let's look ahead at the Bruins. They're coming off a 5-7 record. And second-year head coach, Deshaun Foster, he needs to take a step forward this year. And he believes that Nico is a quarterback that's going to help him do so. And look, Nico threw for 19 touchdowns and 5 interceptions last year. But in 9 games against SEC opponents, basically the quality portion of the schedule, 9 opponents in the SEC, plus the Ohio State game, he only topped 200 yards passing once. So I don't know. The Bruins had hitched their wagon to Nico, and too bad for Joey Aguilar, who transferred in from App State ready to go. And now he's not going to get his chance. But again, UCLA is one of those teams that kind of, it feels like a desperate move. It felt like a desperate move from the get-go. Everybody else said, no, we're not dealing with this. We don't need this guy. We're not putting up with this. Can't trust him. UCLA felt like they had no choice. They had to upgrade at quarterback. Got to get something moving there. So the Bruins spring game, or the spring showcase, if you will be May 3rd. They open the regular season at home against at the Rose Bowl August 30th. And of course, Bruins fans, I would love to hear from you on this. Did you get played or did you get your guy? That's what I want to hear. So go ahead and hit us with the comments on YouTube. While you're there, by the way, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and it's free. And that way you'll never miss an episode of Locked On Big Ten each and every day. Always appreciate you having you here. We got some other things we want to talk about here. First of all, Bryce Underwood, Michigan spring game. How'd that go this weekend? Yeah, with all this going on. More Big Ten news and our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. All that coming up here in 1 minute on Locked On Big Ten. You ever check your bank account and go, whoa, where did all that money go? Right? Well, maybe you've been dining out too much. Online shopping, entertainment. It's easy to lose track. We got a lot of stuff going on in our lives. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, your investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building your wealth. A lot of great insights helping you out. A lot of convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps or pay this on this app or keep track of this app, bring it all together. And it keeps it real smooth and easy. And you can bring in your partner, your spouse, finances all together in one place. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off of your first year. Today's episode is brought to you by Epicor. Every team knows the value of hard work, of taking pride in what you build, and practicing every detail to get the best results. No one player, no matter how amazing, can do it alone. Working together makes getting the win easier. At Epicor, the All-Stars are the hardworking manufacturers and distributors who create and deliver the things we all need, from aerospace to electrical to medical devices. Epicor ERP solutions are created by industry experts to help make every day easier. Seeing your whole supply chain is easier. Managing your logistics is easier. Responding to price changes is easier. From small businesses with big dreams to growing enterprises with global vision, we'll equip you with the right tools to move forward, think ahead, and lead the way. Because as the clock ticks down, you need to make the most of every hard-working minute. Easier doesn't cut corners. Easier takes the lead. Discover your success at www.easierwithepicor.com. That's www.easierwithepicor.com. Thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. Meanwhile, be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below so you never miss an episode. Share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And don't forget our website, talkbig10.com. All right, let's talk about the Michigan spring game a little bit here. The blue team beat the maize team 17-0 for what it's worth. Bryce Underwood, this is the guy we all wanted to see, the number one recruit, the freshman, the phenom. Honestly, an up and down day. By the way, you'll be able to see this game on tape delay on the Big Ten Network this upcoming weekend. Remember, Sherrod Moore didn't want this game to be seen live while the transfer portal is open till the 25th. So Bryce Underwood was 12 of 26. That's modest. 187 yards. That's pretty good, but a lot of that came at the end. Had a touchdown, had an interception. There were a couple of big drops, so he could have had more. Everybody's talking about the 88-yard flea flicker to tight end Jalen Hoffman, who's a former walk-on, by the way. It was on the final play of the day. So, all right, let's end on that note. Hoffman, by the way, on the day, 7 catches, 148 yards, including that 88-yarder. We need to keep an eye on him a little bit more. Jaden Davis played as well, 6 of 17, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Not 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and almost 2 more from what I hear. So both picks were grabbed by corner Jeremiah Lowe, by the way. Good job by him. Nice defense. The projected starting receivers didn't start a whole lot, although Donovan didn't play much, but Donovan McCulley had a nice 25-yard catch from Davis for the Mays team. The running game, all the Mays team, Jordan Marshall, just 6 carries for 9 yards. Alabama transfer Justice Haynes, 6 carries, 51 yards, including a 26-yard run. But the one we need to keep an eye on here, Bryson Kudzal, making the most of his appearance. 15 carries for 105 yards, including a 30-yard run. Okay, that's pretty cool. So anyway, that was kind of in a nutshell. I'm going to dive in and watch that tape delay Big Ten broadcast on this weekend and kind of get caught up on that when that airs as well. Wisconsin had its spring, whatever you want to call it, on the 19th on Saturday. They did kind of a showcase of 20-minute halves. Not a lot of statistical information to share with you. Left tackle Kevin Haywood, of course, we talked about this last week, was injured over a week ago. 6'8", 325 pounds. A lot of high hopes for him, and he's going to be out for the year. Luke Fickell got to get quarterback right. He's going to try Billy Edwards Jr. this year. He did put up some nice stats from Maryland this last year, so he transferred in. We'll see how he does. Back to Michigan for just a moment. I want to talk about this because I took some heat right here on Locked On Big Ten. Last week, I did a whole podcast on suggesting that Michigan would hit the transfer portal and look for an experienced backup at quarterback for Bryce Underwood, because transfer Mikey Keene, he's giving me Jack Tuttle vibes. He's had this injury. He's just now starting to throw. He didn't practice throughout the spring, and Michigan needs some insurance at quarterback. Now, many of you took shots at me. It's fine. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. But you said Michigan's quarterback room is just fine. And you suggested that I didn't know what I was talking about. Well, look who knows what he's talking about, because Sherrone Moore just reached out to former Iowa and former Northwestern quarterback Brandon Sullivan, who just hit the transfer portal. He's also set to visit Tulane and Virginia Tech. But look, Sullivan is a Michigan native, and he checks that one awkward box for Michigan in this situation that they are in that I described earlier last week. That's very appealing to the Wolverines. They need a quarterback who's decent with experience, but it can't be that good, because who else would come to Michigan knowing the QB1 job is going to be Bryce Underwood's no matter what? So you got to have a kid that's good enough to play in case you need him, but he knows that he's not going to be the starter. Takes a unique kind of kid to do that. Sullivan may be that guy. He threw at Iowa. He threw 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Before that, he was at Northwestern. He threw 10 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Not overwhelming, but he started a lot of games in the Big Ten. That might be exactly what they need if Mikey Keene can't get healthy, and they need a veteran backup for Bryce Underwood as he develops. All right. Also, over going into the weekend, I believe it was on Thursday, going into the Good Friday and the holiday weekend and all that stuff, Indiana closed out its spring. They had a 31-23 win over the defense in their spring game on Thursday night. Just a couple of notes from that. You know that the 2 quarterbacks, Fernando Mendoza came in from Cal. You might say, if you're familiar with Indiana football, they have Alberto Mendoza. That Alberto Mendoza is Fernando Mendoza's younger brother. The younger brother was there first. And then the Cal quarterback, Fernando, transferred in. And he's going to have probably be the starting quarterback this year. 10 of 14 for 123 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick for Kurt Signetti's team. Little brother Alberto got in there, 10 throws for 13 throws, 10 completions out of 13 passes, 96 yards and a touchdown. Of note, running back Kalen Black, 8 carries, 72 yards. Indiana only has 5 scholarship wide receivers available at this time, and LeBron Bond had 4 catches for 29 yards and a touchdown. So those are some notes of what happened. We look at Michigan. little bit of Wisconsin and Indiana all kind of wrapping things up this week. A lot more teams will wrap up this upcoming week, and we'll be all over that here on Locked On Big Ten. We're all into the spring football and all that stuff. So we'll take care of that. Now, looking back at this past weekend, go look at our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. A lot of stuff going on that you may not have caught. We'll have that. As you know, we always do some sort of feature at the end. If you're new to us, I'll tell you. Mondays, we do top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. Tuesdays, we do Tuesday tweets. So hit us up on Twitter or X. I see something humorous there. I'll pull it. I'll put it on Tuesday's podcast. Wednesdays, we like to power rank something. Usually some kind of standings, rankings, helmets, anything. We love ranking stuff. Thursday, we take a look ahead at the Big Ten Network with Big Ten Classics and Live Action. We highlight some things on their schedule. Even though we're not affiliated with them, we obviously have a lot of similar interests. And then Friday, we make picks to whatever games are going on. So our top 10 observations from the weekend, from the Big Ten. We'll share that with you next right here on Locked On Big Ten. Supply House. Get the supplies that you need from the site that is just for skilled trades. It's Supply House. Whether you're into plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product information to help get the job done right. Plus, complete inventory available to you. Over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands. You'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. You need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real human being. So for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use the promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com. All right, we are going to take a look at my top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. We'll put them up here. We'll see if mine match yours. Maybe we forgot one. Let us know in the comment section. That is always welcome. We'll do that. I'm going to put this on screen. If you are audio only, no problem. We'll talk you through it. All right. The first thing I want to put on this list is Ohio State lacrosse. They beat Michigan. And anytime Ohio State and Michigan get together, it's a big deal. But for Ohio State lacrosse, this is their first, they wrapped up their first Big Ten regular season title. So congratulations to them. That made our list this weekend. Elsewhere, we got on the list, Penn State baseball. A lot of runs, 13-6 and a win Saturday over Purdue. Wanted to mention that. Going to start mentioning a little more Big Ten baseball at this point, because that's where we're at here in this point of the season. And Maryland baseball as well. 17 runs in a 17-4 win on the road at Indiana on Saturday. Caught my eye. And then Michigan State baseball. Want to mention them? They had an exciting thriller, 10-9 win over Ohio State in 11 innings on Saturday. Now we got some more football stuff we're going to talk about here. Kalon Black, the running back for Indiana, 8 carries, had 72 yards in their spring scrimmage. All right, elsewhere, we've got, let's see here. At 5, sticking with Indiana, Fernando Mendoza, the new transfer quarterback in from Cal. The 10 for 14 performance for 123 yards, a couple touchdowns and a pick. Not bad. And then on Michigan, the Bryson Kutzel, the kid I talked about, he's from the western portion of the state of Michigan. He is in there, and are you kidding me? 15 carries at 105 yards, including a 30-yard run. Looks like another strong running back room for the Wolverines this year. Jeremiah Lowe, he is Michigan's corner. Got 2 interceptions off Jaden Davis. You get one that gets a lot of attention. You get 2, people start to have some big expectations for you when we get into the fall, right? All right. And number 2, Jalen Hoffman. This is he was the recipient of the 88-yard flea flicker that, again, a former walk-on. He had a big day. Had this one, the final play from Bryce Underwood, got things going. Everybody padding their stats on that last play. Way to end the spring scrimmage. And then finally, the number 1 observation of the weekend, UCLA finally signs Nico. It's a done deal. As we said at the top, welcome to the Big Ten. It was an interesting path, not the straightest point, straightest distance between 2 points is a straight line. This was not a straight line, but he's there. He's at UCLA. He's from California. Maybe he'll be happier there than he was at Tennessee. So we'll see. We'll wish him well. Welcome to the fold here in the Big Ten. Those are our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. Maybe I missed one. Let me know. Hit me up on the comments section. Always love to hear from you on that stuff. All right, a couple things I want to update you on. Many ways for you to interact with this podcast. First of all, there's Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten. There's our website, talkbig10.com. We put all of our podcasts there chronologically, and we also group them by your favorite school. And we talk about UCLA today. This one will go in the UCLA file. And if you want to get some UCLA or your favorite Big Ten team merchandise right there, we have links where you can buy shirts, T-shirts, and hats and all that kind of stuff from your favorite Big Ten schools, all at our website, talkbig10.com. Whatever you do, be sure to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. It's free. It takes 1 second to click. Doesn't require any information. So you never miss an episode if you subscribe right now. We're going to hit 20,000 subscribers before the start of the football season. A year and a half ago, we started with 1,000. We're going to hit 20,000. This thing's growing thanks to you guys. And don't forget, if you're an early morning commuter, we have our audio-only version of this very same podcast. It comes out 2 hours earlier. So if you're really wanting to get a jump start on the day for your commute to work in the dark, before the sun comes up, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your audio podcasts, we're right there as well as here on video on YouTube. So feel free to check that out. Just want to make you aware of it, that it is out there. All right. I also ask you to go back and get a second listen. If you don't listen every day, I would invite you to do so, or go back and check out a second listen of a previous podcast from yesterday or earlier last week. And then finally, it is NFL Draft Week. All right, we've got a podcast for that on Locked On. Locked On NFL Draft. Damian Parson and Keith Sanchez. Keep track of your favorite college players, your Big Ten players, where they're going to go in the draft, rumors, draft rankings, news, every day. Find Locked On NFL Draft on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. That'll do it for us. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you had a great holiday weekend, and looking forward to the rest of this week as we keep our eye on everything. This is the only podcast that is centric to all things Big Ten, all 18 teams, news, opinion, and analysis. This is the only place you get all those things under one umbrella. So check us out. Tell your friends about us that we're here each and every day. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman. Talk to you next time.